So we're here with the wonderful Stephen Stohn, and we have some questions, and some of them submitted by you, the fans. So first off, how is Linda? Because we love to know.
Linda's doing fantastically. We're having so much fun this season. I think, I know I always say this, but I feel it, and I feel it genuinely every time. I think season of 12 is going to be by far the best season yet.
Oh my God.
Well, we're so excited.
I just got nervous. I just got really nervous. So we know that you've been shooting LA Complex and Degrassi simultaneously. How has it been having both casts shooting on set all at once?
It has been, surprisingly, it has worked out. I mean, I was really worried that, there would just be collisions all over the place. But it's, we've had, someone in Studio C and someone in the, an entirely different crew in the back lot. And we've got another building that we, sometimes one is in one building and one is in the other building. Mm-hmm. But sometimes they're actually fairly close. And the only difference is, how when you start filming, you have this beep, and then when you finish, it goes beep, beep. We haven't been able to have those because it would interrupt the other shoot. So you have to walk around in tiptoes, and you never quite and look for the flashing light.
Ooh. Is LA Complex still shooting now, or are they done?
No, this week we're for 2 weeks, past last week and this week, we're only shooting Degrassi. Mm-hmm. We're shooting episodes 21 to 24. Which is beyond the telenovela, so that'll be that'll be 4 episodes that will be on in this fall. Mm-hmm. But we needed to shoot those to get a head start on the fall because at the end of this week we stopped shooting Degrassi for quite a long while, and we'll only be shooting the LA Complex.
Oh, okay.
And then the kids are going to Africa, we hear?
They are indeed going to Africa.
Ooh, exciting stuff.
Yes.
So, this is a silly one, but has anybody, during non-shooting time, jumped in that amazing LA Complex pool that you got going on there?
People have wanted to, but what we have, and this is for insurance purposes, and it sounds very boring, the pool is entirely covered. And so it's very, very difficult to get into if we're not filming. So you'll see that. I think you're going to be up later this week, I think. Mm-hmm. So you'll see the pool with its covering on it.
Oh.
So it's kind of disappointing. What I really want to have some parties around the pool.
How fun would that be?
I want to have a party around the pool.
Me too.
And by the way, it's a heated pool, and it's a salt water pool. And it's a real, it's deep. You'll see this year in the LA Complex, somebody jumps from the second story into the pool. It's a real pool.
Oh, wow.
Is that like a dangerous jump situation, or?
Well, let's just say that our insurance company got all freaked out when we were going.
And now I'm all freaked out about it. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
I love it.
This is a question from _Braden on Twitter, and he wanted to know whatever happened to Sheila the lunch lady.
I love Sheila the lunch lady.
We all do.
It was a good question. I think _Braden had tweeted that, and it made me think I should find out, because maybe I know at one point, remember she was in that film, My Big Fat Greek Wedding, or a title like that?
She was in that movie?
She was in that movie.
I remember that.
Yeah. So look for her in there. So we lost her for a while, and then she doesn't seem to have come back. But so I don't know where she is. But I loved her. She was fantastic.
She was really great.
She should come back and have lots of Greek references from the movie. That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
that's
really funny.
Well, that answers our question to Sheila the lunch lady. She blew us off for a major motion picture, apparently.
Oh my gosh. Now we noticed that obviously Degrassi has a new time slot. Is that going to have any effect on the tone or the content that's going on in season 12 at all?
It won't, because we didn't know about the new time slot until after we'd written, and even if we had known about it, really it wouldn't have made any difference. Mm-hmm. I think the idea is, and it wasn't our idea, it was both broadcasters came up with it, because both Teen Nick and Much Music only have one satellite, meaning what they send out goes everywhere in America and Canada at the same time. 10 o'clock Eastern is 7 o'clock Pacific. Mm-hmm. And so that's a better kind of time. And then they'll repeat it again, maybe at midnight or 1 o'clock I'm just not sure which broadcaster is doing which will then be more like 9 or 10 o'clock on Pacific time.
Oh, that makes sense. That's actually a good idea. I like that.
So we were thinking like, oh, it's going to be like super scary and risque, like what's going on?
We have to think in the
Well, it is going to be super scary and risque.
Well, Stephen, you're making me very nervous. I'm very upset.
Oh my god.
Okay, this is another fan question from Lauren Reed on Twitter, and she wants to know, do you think the new characters in Season 12 will have a different effect on us than the new characters we've seen, for instance, in Season 10 and 11?
Well, the new characters in Season 11 were really the Niners coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And the new characters coming in this year are more sort of midstream. There are a bunch of different grades, but not so much in the grade 9. So that will be one difference. Mm-hmm. But yes, they absolutely will be different even apart from that, because there's a group coming in who naturally form their own kind of clique. And it's a clique that is not to be messed with.
Oh my goodness. It makes me scared to even think about it.
That's actually a good lead into our next question.
Yeah, our next question is actually kind of about that group. They kind of seem reminiscent of some of the Lakehurst crew. Is that kind of like paying homage, or are they, kind of based on that?
It's similar in the sense that there's a lot of people coming in who are in various grades, but they're a hockey team, so they're being billeted at Degrassi. And this, by the way, happens all the time in Toronto, and not just in Toronto, but in various Canadian cities. If you're a player for like the Ontario Hockey League, or there's different leagues across the province, you have to play in one city. Like you're a Toronto player, or you're a Sault Ste. Marie player, or you're a Kingston player, and you have to go and live in that city. So you're billeted in a local high school or university. So this is what's happening.
So who did the new hockey players live with? Not families?
That's for me to know.
We don't know.
To find out.
Oh my gosh.
Wait.
July 16th at 10 o'clock.
Do we have hockey teams here? In high schools?
I wonder if you do the similar kind of thing like in basketball. Like I would think you probably don't do the same in hockey, but maybe like isn't there some regional, semi-professional basketball teams that have to move to and live in a different location?
I'm thinking maybe for football or baseball.
Well, certainly football, like college football, you'd be living in a different place, but you'd be going to college.
Right.
But this is different from that.
I just know nothing about sports, but I believe everything you say, so I'll go with that. What was our next question? Oh, we wanted to know, has there ever been, well, I'm sure there has been, but has there been a character that stands out in your mind that's been inspired by a real person that you've known?
Oh, that's an interesting question. No, I mean, apart from obviously people who are kind of real characters who've joined, no, the characters really are amalgams. Like there's a lot in terms of the storytelling goes in reading about or hearing about certain stories that when you read about them in the newspaper, you think, oh, you couldn't make that kind of thing up, or a particular issue. And so they become an amalgam. And the other important thing is that the actor who plays the role helps define who the character is, too.
Yeah, definitely.
That's true.
I can see that.
Yeah, but no, I can't think. I'll ask. So when you're here, if I've got a different answer, I'll let you know. But yes, it's not a case of thinking, oh, my nephew is so cool and he does this, and I'll have that a character after my nephew. No, that hasn't happened to my knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Did you want to ask that one?
I did.
Okay, I'll ask the next question because there's a question after that Taylor really wants to ask you. So we're wondering.
Maybe. It might be.
See, he knows you too well.
Yeah.
But we were wondering, is there going to be a new type of Miss Sauvé? Because we don't know where Degrassi is without a guidance counselor. And if they need one, we're always here.
Yes. Well, one of the existing Degrassi teachers is actually going to take over more of the role of Miss Sauvé.
Oh, really? I like that.
Yeah, but you could fill out an application form here.
Of course.
I would love to do that.
Hired Miss Sauvé's. Miss Sauvé 1 and 2. Okay, now my question. How is Sam Merle?
Sam, no, I haven't seen Sam for a couple of weeks, but when I last did, he is looking so good. He is such a brilliant person.
Excellent.
I don't think he's going to be here when you're here. To be honest, I'm not sure exactly who's going to be in when you're here. But I don't think Sam is in now. But he is such a wonderful, kind, and as you know, very talented and bright person. He's just a joy to work with.
Yay! Everything I love to hear.
So we're wondering, are all of the grade 12s graduating this season?
That is a question that the answer is we don't entirely know. We're shooting episodes 21 to 24, so obviously those scripts have been done. And a bunch of the stories and scripts have been worked on for later on. Mm-hmm. But episode 40 is when we will find the answer to that question. And while there are some ideas of who might stay and who might graduate, those ideas are open to change.
Oh, I love it.
So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. So, by the way, the writing truly is an organic process, and it's not that people know in advance, oh, this is going to happen at the end of the year. There's sometimes some ideas of what's going to happen, like we know there'll be at graduation, but as to exactly who is going to graduate and who won't, we don't know.
Oh my goodness, and we don't know.
So now we really don't know.
We really don't. Well, we heard some exciting news that Chaz Bono was going to be guest starring. Is there any kind of hints to what his plot's going to be like or anything about that?
Oh, very much. And I will say, as you may have read, when we were down in LA for the Emmys, that's when we met Chaz.
Right.
He came over to our table. I think it was Monroe and Aislinn and Jordy were there. And a bunch of the writers. And we were all just having a good time, and suddenly there's Chaz. So we had a really nice conversation with him, and that started the thought of, could he come on to Degrassi? And of course he will. I say of course because it would be natural. He is going to interact with Adam. So Adam will meet him at a particular kind of event, and will get some advice on Adam-type things.
That is so exciting.
I'm so excited for that. That's going to be great.
And what should we be expecting in the Showdown season 12 of it all?
I was interested that the title Showdown came up, because I that wouldn't have been the first title that I would have come up with. But as I thought about it more and more, there's a whole series of different showdowns. But it's not like a showdown, it's high noon in the OK Corral showdown. But there's just definite battles that go on and are large, in some ways resolved, and in some ways just carry on and sort of cliffhanger a bit into the next half of the season. But there's a definite building towards a really, really cool event at the end of the season, and an event that is worked towards all the way through the season, starting from the very first episode of the Showdown and culminating in the final episode of the Showdown, that I am really, really thrilled with. And I think you're gonna like the event in and of itself, but how the characters are drawn in and battle against each other in that event is extremely interesting. And then on top of that, there's other showdowns going on, personal showdowns, and cool. Group showdowns.
Okay. Oh, I love that. That's really interesting. So mini showdowns.
Right. I'm a little less scared, more intrigued now.
Yes.
Definitely more intrigued.
So, will there be any momancing this season? Anything fun to see as far as a Mo romance?
Mo is definitely involved in, and maybe I'm saying something, I'm sure I am, that hasn't been revealed before. There is a new group on Degrassi that will have some surprising members of the group. And it is my favorite Degrassi band of all time. Because this is not your typical Degrassi band where there's a drummer, a bass guitarist, a guitarist, and a singer. This is taking it into the next realm.
Oh, I'm so excited!
Will there be performances?
Well, you will see this band performing, and the Mo Man is definitely a part of the band.
Okay.
Gotta love the Mo.
I can accept that. And we feel like you've got something up your sleeve involving Degrassi alumni. Can we assume that there is something in the works, maybe?
I'm not sure that you aren't trying to pull my leg to draw something out of me that I otherwise wouldn't be able to be drawn out on. And I'll just plead the Fifth Amendment on that and say I can't answer that.
Okay.
So now it sounds like there's going to be sort of a break in between season 12 as far as the episodes go, like a half and then another half. Are we expecting fall episodes, and what can we be expecting from that?
It's up to the broadcasters, but I think there's a very good chance that, yes, we will have more episodes in the fall, but in other words, it won't just be a special in the fall, that it'll be a tranche of episodes. That's, I think, what's going to happen, but we'll just have to wait and see how it all unfolds, see how the universe unfolds.
We did thoroughly enjoy Nowhere to Run, but I gotta say, the hiatus from summer all the way to the winter batch of episodes is like torture.
It did hurt our hearts a little.
It is just so long, but thank God. We have a few questions from Heather Poulette on Twitter. She wants to know, is there any character besides JT that you would ever bring back to the show, and why?
Oh, I would definitely bring back Sean to the show. Okay. I think you know that, in my mind, lovely as Spinner Mason is, and the marriage, I'm sure, is a marriage made in heaven between him and Emma. But to me, Sean is there in Afghanistan fighting for his country, and I'd love to bring him back. And if there are any, tatters in the Emma Spinner marriage, I think Sean could help mend Emma's broken heart.
Yes.
So,
but that I should make it clear that is not happening this year. That is in my fantasy of who I would bring back.
Mine too.
That's amazing. See, his dream,
our dream.
And then this one as well.
Oh, so what was the inspiration? Sorry about that, Jake. What was the inspiration for the Heather on Degrassi?
Well, that was I think it was Aaron Martin and it was around that era when he was the head writer, and they just really loved the idea of having somebody who was referred to and never seen. And I don't know whether they sort of came across it accidentally. Sometimes these things aren't as planned as you might think they are. And then you suddenly realize, oh, we've been referring to that character, or whether it was actually a reference to, there's films like The Heathers, and I know Aaron's best friend at the time was someone named Heather, and whether it built on that or not, to be honest, I don't remember. But it just caught on. Everybody loved the idea. And so then when Holly J. By the way, I always wanted Ellen Page to play Heather. At one point, and this is something nobody knows, we were actually having conversations about Paris Hilton playing Heather. Now, it never got to the point, I think, of Paris Hilton ever being involved in the discussion, but there were sort of people at much lower levels who were having that conversation. So there were lots of discussions about, if we ever revealed who Heather was, who could it be that would be Heather?
That would have been
I
hysterical.
love that. Oh my gosh.
I think we would have died if that happened. From what we've seen in season 11, which plot, or plural plots, were you expecting the biggest reaction from the fans?
Certainly, we knew that there was a thread going all the way through, that people are interested in Eclair. So that we knew we had to, continue that plot, or do something with the plot. And I think in the end, I think it ended really nicely. We don't know what's going to happen in season 12, but there's certainly possibility there. There is hope. And there's been a very nice ending with sparkly lights and a Frostival.
Cotton candy.
I was really pleased that it ended that way.
People always ask us, what is it about Eclair that people love so much? Like, people ask us every single day, why do you love Eclair so much? But why do you think people are so drawn to them as a couple?
Well, and of course, there's the other side of the coin where people, there's a number of people who are saying, oh, Eclair, I've had too much of Eclair.
Right, there is that.
Yeah. So all of which to say, they somehow evoke some archetypal kind of feelings in people. I think the dark, brooding male character, sort of like, the James Dean kind of rebel, who needs to be, is very, forceful in many ways. I mean, he was prepared to go out and do a whole bunch of things, maybe misguidedly, but, he really believed everything he was doing. And it's hard not to really love a character like Eli, and someone like the Claire character. When we saw Aislinn acting when she was very, very young and was being Darcy's sister, Linda and I just immediately said, we have to keep our eye on Aislinn, and as soon as she's old enough, we have to bring her into Degrassi. She was just so good as the goody two-shoes sister of Darcy. And the two of them are it's a kind of a unique pairing. And, the dark, brooding rebel and the sweet, innocent person who nevertheless has her own life and wants to care for Eli, but is going to be hurt by Eli at the same time. It's pretty magic.
The contrast.
Oh, yeah. Gotta love it. Whew. So we have one more question for you, and it's probably a toughie. It is for us. Who are your favorite characters from any season, just of all time? Do you have like a couple that stick out in your mind?
There are so many, and it is very difficult because it's like asking a parent, well, who's your favorite son or daughter? And you really, everyone has characteristics that draw them to it. And so we could talk about any one of. There's probably been about 100 over the course of the next generation. I do go back right to the very, very beginning. I've got a soft spot for, because I was asked, Tehran asked me on Ology, what's your favorite episode of the next generation? And again, I said, it's a very similar answer. There's so many great episodes, and there's some obvious ones like, the JT death and the school shooting and all of those. But I went right back to episode 1. And I will with the Emma character, because she was the one who started off. She was in Degrassi Classic. She was born then. It's a wonderful backstory, and to bring her in with the internet story, right in episode 1, what we now call 101. I'll always have a soft spot for the Emma character.
Oh, I can understand.
You have to have respect for the Emma character, even though she's caused a lot of turmoil.
Yeah.
As a closing, are there a few words you can give us for the season 12 premiere? Now,
you will be attending the premiere, will you not?
Will be there.
At Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So I would just say, what can I say? It's coming up so close. I'm tempted not to say anything other than it will kick off. It truly is an entire summer, and you need to watch almost every episode, which I know you will, and carry on through. But a lot of the plot lines are seeded right in episodes in that very first week, and in episode 1 even itself.
Oh, lots to think about.
Oh my gosh.
So much to think about. I love it.